So, April update. Now, today is 7th of May. So, what happened on the time on April? I haven't been really talk or do much interaction, especially streaming stuff. So, here's a breakdown of whatever happened in April. I was being cheated of money and the breach of trust. There was a friend of mine, or I thought it was, that he and I was in a business partner venture. I knew this person since 2021, where he is a local PC parts provider providing PC parts and solutions. Last time I've been dealing with him a lot of PC parts, bought stuff from him, building PCs, which is the time I was just exploring this hobby of PC world. Now fast forward to recently, February of 2026, him and I got in contact again by a local second-hand seller market, as in the platform. So I came across to him and I just say that, hey, aren't you that person I used to know you before? And eventually we in contact again and we started working together again like last time. Before this, him and I have a good relationship where I could help him sell some PC parts on his behalf. So I earn commissions from this kind of sale with him, which it works pretty well for the time, because during that time after COVID, there was a need of PC parts because of online Zoom and also safe distancing. So a lot of people staying home, they need PCs to do their work. So this is where a lot of business are booming. So since this year, him and I have a similar agreement again, but the so-called he needed some money because of his ventures are having some troubles, right? So he actually would agree to return me the money when he borrowed from me with interest. So let's say for example, he needed $100, then he will return me maybe $110, which really works pretty well because he really needed it. He made the sale for his PC parts or whatever he's doing, then he gave back the money, right? So fast forward until recently, before April 1st, him and I have agreement that by right, I was supposed to end one of the tenures of a loan agency that I've been doing, but because he needed some help for his ventures, right? So I did the borrowing on myself and I lent him some money, like around $750, which he said he'll return with interest, and the other ones he owed me by 10 April, right? Which is around total around 1,000 something. So fast forward, April 10 arrived. He said he doesn't have the money. He says he's in hospital. He needs some help. He needed more money from this, right? So he needed some like around $450. And you know what? Because of trust, I knew that he could return me. Then, I just lent him the money, right? He said he will return me by another date with the interest. So fast forward, on that day comes. I found it very suspicious that, started to have this kind of very weird pattern, sounds like a scammy pattern, that he keep pushing the date again. Even though he made a sale on his company, recently he have a lot of disputes with some other people, like customers, right? Where there's like a breach of trust, like cheating, because he was unable to deliver the PC parts to the customer, right? Then his so-called his account is being terminated or suspended because of this. So he also asked me for help, which he needed an account, but he couldn't create his own. So I have an old one that has kind of like a reputable account, because he actually did create his own account, but new ones, he posted the listings, but then it got reported because it sounds or looks suspicious, right? He has so much things as a new account, so the platform blended. So instead, he needed some help. He needed someone that at least have a standing in, or at least activeness in the platform. So I gave him my old account. And the problem with that old account is because it's registered under my credentials. So now, after this video, I'll basically just report the listing, or basically his account, as identity theft or account compromise, and make sure that he doesn't do this anymore. So back to the topic. He basically agrees that he will return me on another date again. Then he's telling me another reason again, saying that, I didn't make a sale, or he's busy, or he's not enough money. If he so-called he claims that he doesn't have enough money, he could have returned me some money first, and and make sure that he could able to return other amounts by a later day, right? But it didn't happen. So he keep dragging, pausing, he's saying that he's going to hospital again, say he's had family issues again. This is giving a pattern that is very, very, very weird. So from this pattern, I know that he had no intentions to return me the money at all. I did an ultimatum like almost at the end of the April month. I say that if you didn't return me the money, I will report to the police. He basically basically challenged me and say that, hey, you can just report to the police. No, I don't care. Just save whatever information you have, just report to the police. I find it weird that he actually tried to mock me. He knows my real name and he purposely mocked my name as an insult. So I did report to the police, and you know what? Unfortunately, the police couldn't do anything because there's not sufficient evidence that it's a crime. Instead, it's more of a civil case. It involves borrowing money, right? There's a time that I was in a sale deal with a customer of a laptop in behalf of him. The deal went sour. He should be sending the laptop to the customer by 2-3 days. Then he said he went to the hospital. And he said he couldn't deliver maybe in the 2-3 days, right? Yes, 2-3 days came. And he didn't deliver it again. So I had to take the bullet on behalf of the customer and refund the money. The problem about this transaction, right? When I got the money paid from the customer, it's paid through the platform like a middle person. The funds was on hold on the platform. And what happens is I told him that, hey, the customer paid me through the platform. Could you release the laptop? They said that he needed some money to top up for the funds for the release of the laptop, which is around $259, which I did pay. Yeah, and now what? Not only I had to refund the money from the platform to the customer, and I had to lose $259. So that's almost around $2,000 in total loss, including the previous debt, right? So in the middle, he also asked for some small money again for food or whatever, right? So okay, now back to the police case, where unfortunately this is under civil case because most of the transactions are done by loaning or so-called like a personal loaning or like borrowing. So it's not falling under so-called criminal case instead of a civil case, which afterwards I did a lot of ton of research. There is steps that you can do to retrieve the money, but it's not 100%. Why? Because when you want the so-called, it's like a small court case, doesn't mean that he or she will return you the money. But of course, I could initiate, let's say after I won your case by court, after the certain amount of time he didn't return me the money, I can do so-called a seizure of his assets or freeze his bank account. But of course, within a time frame, he could just basically just move his assets somewhere or basically withdraw all the money he has from the bank, right? So this is why I rather not do this, and instead my so-called last solution is to liquidate his assets, which I think is a smart move because it's just coincidentally I also help him remove some of the items that he doesn't want to hold on or basically couldn't sell. And I also at the same time I found someone that wanted the laptop after that day, so it's kind of like a win-win situation here. But yeah, I actually did lose from the transaction though. Not only I lost my money, even by a bit, I also lost my mentality. My mind is giving me so much stress I couldn't do my work at all. It's keeps spinning my hair around about this kind of thing. This guy, he knows how to play by the book. He knows how to so-called manipulate. Yeah, I think he have a lot of good social skills for this. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna contact with him anymore. One last thing about he did, right, after so-called I liquidated his assets, he came back to me and said that, hey, last time I did the RMA for the 2 PC parts from you, right? I bought 2 motherboards from him. So basically I returned to him as a one-on-one exchange. And what happens was he told me that the return need to be repaired by the authorized personnel or distributor. I think the distributor is the right name. The distributor said that he had to basically pay for the damages for turning with the damaged motherboard. But here's the funny thing. He told me to return me the money only after the liquidation of assets, which this incident happened a month ago. He should ask me to pay that time, but he didn't. So I take it as the fact that, it's the window of expiration is already there. If you want me to pay or basically reject my service by time, you just should have done it that time instead of just asking me after this liquidation asset. I'm not gonna fall for the trick of so-called social engineering, right? A pressure where basically I am obliged to pay. This is not my problem. It's your problem. You should have told me that you supposed to pay me during that time, not after whatever drama issue we have. Why I dragged this long? Because as a mindset of, because I helping him sell the parts, right? Which I did. I helped him sold like 2 or 3 big AI PCs, right? By right, he should have the funds to give me the amount, right? But he didn't. He should at least give me some amount, but he didn't as well. Yeah, this is kind of crazy, right? He should give me some amount when I'm making a big sale, especially like $5,000 to $6,000 worth of money. So there's that. So I think he's just basically an asshole at this point. If he would value this business partnership or think me as a more than a friend or, at least a person of integrity, he should give me some amount of money first to make sure that, I'm keeping check instead of me bugging him all the time. Like, hey, where's the money? Hey, where's the money? Are you giving me today? You told me this time. No, he's basically telling me that, okay, today, tonight, later tonight. At this point, he's not a person to trust anymore. His business is basically not sustainable. On all this audio, I lose my mind. I lose my will to work most of the time. I was supposed to do this loan from this agency again, but I have to pay late fees. By the time that I was going to pay for the loan, right, I was going to get chased by this loan personnel because I was not able to get the funds back from this guy, right? Because he's been an asshole. I had to pay late fees. I had to basically negotiate with the officer. Doesn't want to budge. He says that no way, you just tell me this way late. I don't care. I mean, that I told them I was being scammed. Something happened. They don't fucking care. That after this agency loan, I'm not gonna. I pay off all the loans. I'm not gonna borrow from them anymore. And in general, I'm not gonna borrow at all. I want to make sure I have enough money for me, myself, and also my future. What's the conclusion of this story for this month? First, never ever lend people money unless it's a small amount. If let's say the person really needs it and you know that they need it, then maybe you can borrow like what, $50 to $100 and that's it. And second of all, if they ask for a huge money, don't borrow for them. Let them do themselves. And make sure if you really cannot do it, then you tell the real reason why you cannot, instead of just pushing away the date and just so-called drag the real reason of why you couldn't return. So I hope this video at least let you learn or at least have the knowledge of what is going on about me and also maybe applies to you in this kind of situation. So I'll see you next month again for the update. Bye bye.